Hello, Reagan here, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I do a little bit of everything, mostly craft related and some miniatures, and then once in a while I get out and travel and do stuff like that. So I do share some of that with you here as well. But for the most part, this is a craft channel. And today I am working on it's a destashing project. I had some stuff flying around that I was just trying to find a use for, and I've been trying to keep myself creative because I've been going through some really stressful stuff right now, and this really helps. It's perfect therapy for me. That, along with some medication I just started taking not too long ago. Anyway, but the box was part of a set of boxes. I don't even know where I got them, to be honest with you. Probably off of Amazon or at one of the major craft stores. I hit up everywhere, and it's just a little small square box. And then this is like one of those little like wood canvases to paint on, that was in a set of a whole bunch of them that, once again, I probably got on Amazon. If I can find something similar, find a link, I will let you know and link it down below. Anyway, this little wood canvas piece fits perfectly like a lid for that bottom square box piece. So I'm turning them into a little chest. And the color that I'm painting this right now is a mixture of some different craft paints I had lying around. I usually use like a brown to darken up my purples a little bit, and I had some deep purple apple barrel paint, which you can see in the background there, and I mixed a little bit of I'm not sure, I believe it's like chocolate bar or something like that, and it wasn't quite dark enough, so I had a tube of some old artist acrylic. I found some dioxazine purple that I mixed in, a little bit deeper tone. And I tend to like, you get paint, like you buy paint at the store, and sometimes it's like almost what you're looking for, but you want it a little lighter, a little darker, whatever. So what I usually do is I'll do that, and I'll use one of my empty apple barrel paint bottles and like fill it with that, and swatch it on top so that if I need to recreate it like further on down the line, I'm able to do that. Anyway, but I just painted everything, gave it a nice double coat because this raw wood sucks up the paint. And I also put a little bit of Mod Podge in the paint as well, to kind of make it a little bit hardier. I do that a lot when I'm, since I didn't properly prime this, that kind of helps seal it, kind of helps the paint to stay on it a little bit better, in my opinion, my personal experience. But yeah, so I give everything a nice double coat of paint. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up a little bit and get through the paint process and get on to the next part. All right, so now that I have everything painted, we're going to go in and do some other fun stuff. That paper that you see just kind of creep into the corner there, that is some snake paper that came from a booklet of paper that I got at Michael's. And I'm going to line the very bottom of the top and bottom of this box with that paper. I don't know if I got all of that recorded, but this piece right here I got at Michael's, and I really liked it, but I really wanted to do this, all the hardware and stuff on this kind of a brighter, like bronzy gold color to kind of contrast well with the purple. Plus later on I'm going to be doing some dry brushing of some metallic, kind of more of a golden metallic color. So I went ahead and took my rub and buff, and that would be in, whoops, I'm doing a voiceover, so of course I have to knock everything over in the process. Antique gold, but I used the antique gold and just painted it on a little heavy because I'm putting it on this metal, and I wanted to make sure that everything was covered well and adhered well and sealed. And the rub and buff is very hardy. It gets on stuff and it stays pretty well, and it's pretty easy to seal in place, and kind of sticks around. But anyway, just to make it a little bit more cohesive, I went ahead and put rub and buff on all of the different hardware that I'm using for this project. Everything from this piece that's going on the top to all 4 feet, the latch that goes on the front, and all of the hinges. So now that the base coat is dry on the box, I'm going over everything with some Mod Podge once again, just to seal it again. I like to make things as hardy as I can. I mean, sometimes, like normally I would go out and hit it with the rattle can spray sealer, but the weather's a little bit funky right now, as of when I was actually recording this a couple days ago. So I'm just brushing on some Mod Podge just to give it that little extra bit of seal, just to kind of get everything not to, you know, fall apart and look terrible instantly. So yeah, I went over everything and did all that fun stuff. So I had this tube of Gorilla 2-part epoxy lying around for, I don't know, a while, and I finally found a use for some of it. I'm using it to hold on the front piece, the Raven skull, so that it doesn't come off very easily. I have other options, but I don't like to use like hot glue, especially out here because of the desert heat. It doesn't last very long. We have a lot of extreme temperature variations. It gets really hot and really cold. And I don't know why I struggled so hard with putting the lid back on that. I had to wipe it out because I put it on backward, even though it's got a little notch and everything. But that was just beside me. Like just couldn't figure that out to save my life. But I finally got it. Ta-da! Yay! Okay. Anyway, but it's 2-part. It's a double tube, and most people are pretty familiar with this stuff. But you just squeeze out. And it squeezes out equal amounts of each one, and then you just stir it up really good. Make sure it's mixed really, really well. And this one, I believe, sets up in like 5 minutes or so, and then it takes a couple hours to cure solid. So I just mixed that up really good, and then put it on the piece that I am adhering to the top. I didn't put any rub and buff on the back. I did go over it a little bit with some sandpaper to kind of make it easier for everything to grip to each other. I just took like an emery board and just went over it a little bit on the spots where I was putting the epoxy so that it would help it adhere better to the top of the box. And in hindsight, I should have did the same to the top of the box, but I didn't. But it's on there pretty good. I've given it some, tried to work on it a little bit and see how it went. And it doesn't seem like it's budging. So I also managed to bump it a few times on my desk and this and that, and it's doing good. And as far as the feet and all the rest of the hardware, everything else is screwed on with the little screws. The bottom was thick enough to where there's no screws popping up through the bottom. But I put on all 4 feet, and then of course the latch in the front and the hinges for the top and bottom. And I don't know if I recorded it. We'll find out soon enough. But I did go in and use a little bit of UV resin on the inside. The screws were a little bit too long, and I couldn't find any that were shorter. So what I did is I clipped them off as close as I could to the length that they needed to be. And because I had already started screwing in the holes before I realized that was a problem, I went ahead and took some UV resin and put on the inside over the little nubs of screw that were sticking out, just so that it would be flush and not have that sharp metal edge sticking out inside the box. So that seems like it's working pretty well so far. So yeah. So for my last finishing steps, I forgot to hit record when I first started, but I went in and dry brushed some more rub and buff all over the whole box because I really liked the way it looked. And then I went over that a little bit with some of the Waverly wax, clear wax, to kind of seal it in. Actually, I did a layer under and a layer over. That way it actually like seals it in pretty nicely. And yeah, so I really like the way this turned out. I do have this listed for sale in my Etsy shop if you'd like to check it out. And if you are one of my patrons, you get some pretty deep discounts over on Cat Hair Tea. And I always try to, like, if you favorite items, there's discounts available. And if you follow my store and things like that, and I try to run sales pretty regularly to make things affordable so that everybody can check them out. And there's that snake paper that I was telling you that I lined the inside with, and then you can see the little bumps from the UV resin that keep the screws covered so that nobody scratches themselves on them. And yeah, I really like this, and it's going to be really hard to get rid of it. I kind of want to keep it for myself, but I can always make more. I have plenty more supplies to do so. Anyway, but there you have it. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you next time.